guys, let's go to the top of the table. Because that's the biggest debate now going on as the season is about to start. Everybody wants to know, Manchester City, are they doing it again? Or is it time for the likes of Liverpool, who have had, I think, a very, very good preseason, and the new manager, maybe the new manager bounce, and then you talk about Chelsea as well, with a new manager who might just find a way to get the right mix of that team. Are we going to see the usual suspects at the top, or will we see changes this year? I'm starting with you, Festus. Man City, have they done enough to retain this title? Are they going to, do you think they have it in them to retain this title?
Of course, Man City will always be the favorites based on their squad depth, based on Pep Guardiola as a whole. He is a big factor when it comes to determining who wins this because of his experience, his tenacity, his zeal to win and be perfect. And basically, they've retained a whole lot of number of their squad. They've not really had any movement that much. So, and because they have a very big squad also, the competition will always be fierce among them. So you can't write that off. But I want to believe that I think this season is going to be a bit different. A lot of people say, yeah, I know you say Arsenal or the rest, but for me, I think Arsenal is battle ready. They've been scarred, they've been bruised. Most of those boys have experienced 2 years of battle with Man City at the top. And at this point, I think they are ready. I think Arsenal is ready to rest to that power, rest to that top spot. And yes, I see it's still a two-horse race. I see the neck-to-neck fight up to the end. I think Arsenal will just nick this. This is what I believe, but I can't write City off because they are the bookmakers' favorite. Most predictions I've seen all over the place, City is always predicted to win the league again. But for me, I think Arsenal is battle ready and they are ready to actually rest to that top spot from them.
Femi, City have let only one player, they brought in Savinho. That's the only key player. Calvin Phillips is back in their fold. There were fears that Ederson might be leaving. There were fears that, what's his name, De Bruyne might be tempted to go to Saudi. But, Pep Guardiola has shut that down. Arsenal, who have they signed? Raya, permanent, his deal is permanent, and then two youngsters, one from Denmark and the other from Ajax, the goalkeeper from Ajax, and then of course Calafiori, right? And then you look at Chelsea bringing in Dewsbury Hall, Pedro Neto, and a lot of players that they brought into the side. Liverpool yet to do any business in the window, but we saw Liverpool last season how they faltered here and there because of squad issues, injuries to key players, and the squad not just being good enough, but yet they have not done anything. Manchester United, Ten Hag is at it again, buying former Ajax players. Femi, let's look at the transfers. How much confidence do you have in some of these teams based on the transfers they've done? And that's why I'm asking you to look at the deals they've done and how you think it can help shape the top four this season.
Looking at the top four, I think the top four would most likely pick itself this season, just like it did last season. So I think Man City and Arsenal are shoo-ins for the top four. Aston Villa again because of the manager they have, and I think realistically that final battle will be between Man United and of course Liverpool. Liverpool, the reason I would not put them in the top three easily or even the top four this season is just because they've lost Klopp, and we're talking about who clubs have signed. When you've got a monumental manager who leaves, you've got a new person who needs to learn the league, and he hasn't had the greatest in terms of getting new players in. Most of his players who are the greatest, they're reaching their peak. It's like Man City as well. Salah, Van Dijk, they're getting older. It's the same thing with Man City. If you look at the core of their team, they're all in reaching their 30s. And it's very difficult in the Premier League at that age to continue to churn in outstanding performances. But look at Arsenal. Saliba played the most minutes last season. He's just 23, 24. Declan Rice, Odegaard, Gabriel, Ben White, Saka, all the guys that played the most minutes they all played 85% or more of the minutes we played last season. The average age there is just around 24, 25. All our top players are between 24 and 28. Some are even, I mean, Saka will not be 20, he'll be 23 shortly, I think. Martinelli will not be 23 until the end of the season. So when you've got players who are really young and can still improve, then you've got a chance there. That's why Arsenal will be definitely there to challenge for the league. But when you look at Man City, again, like I told you, only Fez was right. Only the experience, the philosophy, the know-how of Pep will keep them going. But I'm not sure about the rest. I'm sorry, because I think Man United are going to suffer a little because they've not really bought players that can improve the team so well yet. And you've got the same problem with Liverpool. You've got a new manager who has to settle in and he's kept the core of the team, which is great for them, but they still got to learn. So Chelsea, I mean, they have over 50 first team players. That's not going to help anybody at all. I know you can sign as many under 21s as you want, and you can register as many of them, but a lot of them are actually first team players elsewhere. So Enzo Maresca needs to learn the league again. We had the same problem with Arteta. So overall, you can see the rationale behind why I think Arsenal and Man U, I'm sorry, Arsenal and Man City for the top two. The rest of that has to Villa will probably be in there because of the pedigree of their manager, and they've kept the same team as well. And they've added to the team anyway, although they've lost Douglas Lewis. So that's my summary, really, and I hope you've got the reasoning behind why I think some of those teams will suffer.
Eddie, Liverpool, is the manager taking too much risk right now, not dipping into the transfer market? Is it having too much faith in whatever he has in that team?
You could look at it as risk, but you could also look at, if it's not broke, why do you need to fix it? There's a lot to be said about the stability of the team. Everybody's always looking for partnerships across the team. You talk about defensive partnerships, you talk about midfield partnerships. So I think that the manager is probably being smart, right? Giving himself a bit more time to come in and assess the player before he starts making lots of wholesale changes. You still got Salah, you still got Van Dijk, you still got the Szoboszlai, and don't forget, before Klopp left, there were a lot of young players that were knocking on the door to start at the first team. Remember what happened to Chelsea in the cup competition? So I think the manager might be playing it smart and say, hey, listen, before I start bringing in new players to come and disrupt the harmony, there was question marks about who's going to stay. Was Trent going to stay, with Klopp leaving? Van Dijk, was he going to stay, and all of that? So I'm sure he had to do a bit of internal calming the guys, say, hey, listen, we've got a system that works. I'm here to make you guys better. Nobody's a threat, blank sheet of paper, and all of those things that new managers always say. And if you look at their preseason results, you can't say that if he's done too badly. So I think he's going to be a wild card. Keeping the same squad and the way that you've kind of seen them play. You had a close-up there in preseason. I think, Liverpool, you can't write them off. Forget that Klopp has left. The players are still there.
And they've actually had they've had a very good preseason.
Yeah.
If you look at the results, if the results are anything to go by. But then none of you talked about Tottenham Hotspurs. Yeah, Tottenham right now, they've added Dominic Solanke. They are trying to replace the goals they've lost in the sale of Harry Kane, which wasn't there last season for them. But the team looked pretty decent last season. Maybe nothing fantastic about them. They brought in Dominic Solanke, Archie Gray, that from Leeds United is also in the mix. But Dominic Solanke, is that enough to push them higher than they finished last season? Dominic Solanke will score goals. What he brings into the team. At some points, even Arsenal were linked with Dominic Solanke early in the window. But I'd like to chip in on this. Is Dominic Solanke enough to push Tottenham Hotspur higher than they finished last season?
For me, I don't think so. I see them breaking into the top four. I think they still have time. They weren't that bad last season. They started well, but just like we're talking about experience, consistency, maybe last squad also. And when the injuries and the wear and tear started setting in, most of those players, started getting tired. We started seeing the consistency was not there. They play well in certain matches and they lose matches they were not expected to lose. And in terms of the goal scoring, I don't think they missed Kane that much. They were scoring for fun. They were scoring high goals. Everybody was scoring in the team. So he gave them more, they had more opportunity in terms of playing different ways, unlike before where everybody pushes the ball to Kane. Kane was like a target man. Here they were more expressive. They could play from either wings. They could play from the center. Everybody was scoring. So Solanke coming in, I don't know how the manager wants to play. I don't think goal scoring was the problem they had last year. Rather, the problem they had was more of the defense and the way they play in terms of their defense. The high football they play, a lot of teams started studying them and started taking advantage of that, So I think that will still be the problem because I don't think that has been resolved. I see the Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, the top three, and for me, that top four will be contested between Man U, the likes of Aston Villa. I am putting that the fourth position for Man U and Aston Villa. It will be a contest between both of them because I think Man U has bought well, and I think towards the end of last season they started gelling, they started playing well, and we could even see the match against City in the last weekend when they kicked off the Charity Cup. I saw the way they played. They had some exciting young talents that are all coming up. Ahmad, and every one of them, they're doing well. And with the two guys they just bought, strengthening their defense, Delete and what's the other guy's name? They are trying to sort out their defense, and I see them challenging for top four this time around. Like I said, but I don't think Tottenham has it in them to break into that top four. I think they'll still finish the Europa area.
Okay, Festus, give us your top four for next season. Your top four for
My
next
top four for next season remains Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, and Manchester United.
In that order?
In that order, yeah.
Awesome. Femi, your top four for next season, for the 2024-2025 season.
If you want it in the right or in an order, or
of course, that's how we want it, in the right order.
I'll be backing Arsenal for the league, 100%. City, too strong for anybody to finish second. Reasonably, I expect Liverpool to finish third again. It will be a hard battle, and United may nick in front of them, but I think United fourth. I'm worried about Spurs, and I'm worried about just like you said, Face. I do believe that maybe Chelsea are not ready yet as well. Spurs will be they'll be good because they finished fifth.
Femi, your top
top four, as I said, Arsenal, Man City. I expect Liverpool third, and then United fourth.
Eddie, your top four. Order you think they'll now, guys, we're going to revisit this. Teams are still in the transfer market and all of that, so a lot of things can change.
Yeah.
So we're going to revisit this maybe later in the season, maybe in November or December. We'll revisit this. But for now, so Eddie, your top four.
Listen, I think Arsenal will do it. I think Arsenal would do it. So you've got to go Arsenal and Man City. It's hard, but listen, my top four will be Arsenal, Man City, Manchester United, and potentially Newcastle. I will put Chelsea, Liverpool, and Spurs as wild card.
We don't want your wild card.
Fantasy Premier League season, mate. It's got to have wild cards.
But guys, I think Arsenal will just do it this season. I don't know why I just feel so confident, but I think Arsenal will do it this season. I think City will come second. I think Tottenham Hotspur will come third. And I think Aston Villa will come fourth. Chelsea, United are not going to be in that mix. Festus said something, some minutes ago that is very true and very key. Tottenham Hotspur did not miss Harry Kane last season, regardless of all the noise and all the goals and whatever. In the last 5 years, last season was the first time they hit the 74 goal mark in any season. Last season was the first time they hit 74 goals in a season. The season before, I think they finished 70. That was with Harry Kane. The one before that, I think 69. And then the one before that, 60-something as well. But I was checking and I saw that, wow, without Harry Kane, they scored a lot more goals. And so I just feel Dominic Solanke is just going to add to that. Now, he's not a superstar. He's not coming in as a superstar. So they're not going to make him like the focus, all the play go through him like they did to Harry Kane. And he's just going to add to the goals because there are goals in that boy. There are goals in that boy. And so that's why I'm putting them in third, right? I think they will finish in the top four. But Aston Villa, just because of how good the manager is, the manager, Unai Emery, is one person I admire the way he works. And immediately they lost Douglas Luiz. They went straight for Ahmad Onana. Onana is strong. So they replaced Douglas Luiz very, very well. and I think they'll finish fourth in that one. Right.